My name is Nassim Sabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
Between Kings Mountain and Chimney Rock, North Carolina is the largest lithium deposit in the world, and the rights are owned by Albemarle Global. And on September the 24th, they actually applied for federal and state permits to redirect and reconstruct their mining operation between Kings Mountain and Chimney Rock. So Albemarle is owned mostly by stockholders, Vanguard and BlackRock Group. Well, guess who the biggest investor in BlackRock and Vanguard is? Douglas Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband. So, Albemarle is home headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when these permits get approved, they're proposing $250 billion yearly in mining. Douglas Emhoff's stock holdings just went up substantially. And guess who is the final approval for the permits? That would be our lovely BP. So, as I said, I'm going to post about 6 or 7, maybe 8 pictures at the end of this video, and you can see for yourself. It's a disgrace. The loss of life.
I mean, just take a look at how FEMA choppers are destroying donation camps left and right.
Why did they do that? That helicopter just came around here and kicked up everything. Now he's out. Did they just do that on purpose? Wow, that was crazy. Brother, I got him on camera. But do y'all really think that was on purpose?
Absolutely.
This kind of blatant disregard for other people is absolutely disgusting. But if you just check out this FEMA meeting, you'll realize that it's only part of the master plan for them, and they're just doing the job that they've been assigned. I mean, just take a look at how FEMA choppers are destroying donation camps left and right.
Why did they do that? That helicopter just came around here and kicked up everything. Now he's out. Did they just do that on purpose? Wow, that was crazy. Brother, I got him on camera. But do y'all really think that was on purpose?
Absolutely.
This kind of blatant disregard for other people is absolutely disgusting. But if you just check out this FEMA meeting, you'll realize that it's only part of the master plan for them, and they're just doing the job that they've been assigned. Now, I think by now, all of you know that something is just not right with what's been going on in North Carolina ever since the hurricane and the storm hit the state. However, some people might still not believe that companies like BlackRock and Vanguard might be behind this. And it might be an even tougher pill to swallow when you realize that your sitting vice president and the current presidential nominee might profit very heavily from all this land grabbing that seems to be going on. Well, if you're still on the fence, the video I just showed you should be enough to sway you because, as the man explained, Albemarle Global, which holds mining rights to these huge mining fields near Kings Mountain, has received huge investments from both BlackRock and Vanguard. And you can confirm it through the NASDAQ site, which shows that both of these investors hold about 24 million shares of the chemical company out of a total of 108 million. And a simple search will show you that Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Emhoff, have invested millions into their retirement accounts of BlackRock and Vanguard. But I think profiting from the loss of other people is not even the biggest crime that Kamala's committed so far. I think she and Biden are pretty much responsible for this gold rush for lithium in our great country, and I have a way to prove it. I'm sure many of you remember the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which this administration passed almost 2 years ago. Remember, the vice president was gloating about it all over the internet.
Today is a historic day. With the passage of this bill, the United States Congress is putting in place the president's agenda, and our president, Joe Biden, pledged that we would bring down healthcare costs, that we would address the climate crisis, and that corporations would pay their fair share. And that is what is happening on the path toward building America's future and strengthening America's family. It's a good day.
A whopping $660 billion are going to be spent on climate action incentives. Now, why does that matter, you might be asking? Well, because as most financial institutes predicted all the way back in 2022, this act was tailor-made to create a lithium crunch in our country. You see, the act gave huge tax credits for anyone buying electric vehicles, but this act made it clear that the final assembly of clean vehicles qualifying for the tax credit will have to take place in North America. And critical minerals used in batteries, including lithium, are going to have to be sourced from either North America or U.S. trading partners. Beginning in 2024, minerals or components sourced from foreign entities of concern like Russia and China will make vehicles ineligible for subsidies. This basically meant that car manufacturers like Tesla and even the German brands had to source all of this lithium from U.S. soil, and that's how this gold rush began. Now, even more interestingly, at the time, there was only one company producing any lithium in the U.S., and you guessed it, it was Albemarle Global, which was extracting lithium from Nevada. And thanks to this Inflation Reduction Act, overnight, this small company became a frontrunner in the global lithium market. So yeah, even though she might not have received billions of dollars directly from BlackRock or Vanguard, Kamala Harris certainly made some really big friends by helping out these investors and setting up the U.S. lithium mining operations. If I'm being honest, I think it's the multi-trillion-dollar investors like BlackRock and Vanguard and men like Larry Fink who have the final say when it comes to what is going on in North Carolina and other affected states. And if things keep going this way, pretty soon the entire town will be swallowed up by these mining operations and lawyers, and this guy explains perfectly just how that happens after every so-called natural disaster.
Guess who owns the rights to those mineral companies, the quartz and the lithium in North Carolina? BlackRock and Vanguard are the ones that will benefit off of all of that strip mining that they will be doing. And do you understand the level of destruction that they do to extract lithium out of those mines? Won't be anything left. So I want you guys to look up the Paradise Fires, especially if you are homeowners out in those areas. This is very, very, very important. During the Paradise Fires, that entire town was wiped out. Everything was gone. Very, very, very little of that survived. And what happened is that the lawyers came in and they made big group events for all these people. And they said, hey, we're gonna help all of you. We're gonna have this, we're gonna envelop, hundreds and thousands of these people into the same lawsuit. And what they did was they made the lawsuit. They got a huge lump sum. Then what they do is they take 25 to 35% of that lump sum for themselves, and then they divided the rest of the money to the town of Paradise. So guess what? That left people with less money to rebuild their homes. So developers came in, bought up all that land, and even though they didn't have much resources out there other than timber, the property was worth a lot because they can build developments and, track housing and all that stuff out there, which is what they ended up doing. So all those folks that lived out there had property, been there for generations or whatever. They all lost their land because they couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford to rebuild. They couldn't afford to pay their mortgages. And all these companies came in and just kicked them all out. And that's what they're going to do to you guys.
Now, this guy isn't making things up. Major news outlets have reported many times how the local citizens just got priced out, and now they simply can't afford to live in the town they once called home.